It was the members that were around then, and they had to answer for what they were telling the East Coast, and the lies just manifested and grew out of control, where they couldn't cover their own shit anymore.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Repo.
Morning, Bill. How you doing?
How are you?
All right.
So you're on location.
Right, we're on locations up here at Cheerleaders, the last place Tommy was at before he gotten killed that morning.
Do you remember what time it was? Around what time all this happened?
It was right around midnight, something in that area.
And I seen a video of the black car following him.
Yeah, this is the parking lot, and had to drive several hours to get up here to do this. But it's a good addition because, we saw a little bit of opposition in some of the previous cast clips, and we'll clarify that, later on so that maybe they understand it a little bit better.
Cheerleaders right back to you? Is it the building in back of you?
Yeah, that's the building right here behind me. You can see the sign up there for Cheerleaders, and right down in the heart, right off of Oregon Avenue here.
So it's still open?
Oh, yeah, they're still open. Absolutely.
After all this happened, they didn't close down? There wasn't no investigation?
Well, it didn't happen on site. It wasn't anything on them.
Yeah. How long? Do you know how long he stayed there for? How long was he in Cheerleaders for?
Oh, they were that night?
Yeah.
They were in there for several hours prior to Tom leaving.
And was that a place they would go frequently?
I'm sorry?
Is that a place that they would go frequently?
It's a place they frequented when they were Pagans. It's as one of the viewers had made some comments on there, Tom did not want to come here that night. But they came. He wasn't afraid to come here, anything of that nature, but he knew it was a hot spot. And that guy that was having his patch party that night demanded this be the place because he, like I had said in another portion of this, he was on the phone all day calling people, telling people, he was being paid. This is where his party was going to be that evening, putting it out there. And I think that's, some of what caused it, but
it alerted other people.
It led up to the events that took place. Absolutely.
Yeah, this murder's never been solved.
Yeah, it only takes one person making a call, and then however many calls get made. But
do you think that ex-pagans joining the Hells Angels kind of muddied the waters?
It absolutely muddied the water. When their guy got locked up, Gorilla, all these people leave. And again, I got to say this, Tommy was one hell of a stand-up individual. 1,000 yards of respect go out to him for everything that he did. And, it definitely caused a lot of problems when everybody had left the Pagans, and whatever the true number of them that, wanted to become Hell's Angels, and put a mark on them. Absolutely. They were not happy.
And they followed Tommy to the Hells Angels, right?
Yeah, Tommy was a natural born leader. One hell of a guy. Way too young to lose his life, that's for sure.
How old was he when he was killed?
I'm sure somebody will correct it, when we do air this if I'm wrong, but I believe he was 36 years old when he lost his life.
Wow, that's young.
Very young, very young.
Did he have kids?
No, the lady that he was with, it wasn't his wife. She had a couple of kids that viewed him as their father, and he was a great man with them.
Certain people have different aspects on what happened and what their story is because it's their story, and they get mad when other people tell their own story and they're a part of it.
Absolutely. There's, what Philadelphia people told everybody. After Tommy was hit that night, a few days later, the couple days, whatever it was, the prospect that was on the motorcycle that night, he's passed away now. So his name was Byron, and now I'll put his name out there because he's passed away. They had to go somewhere to another state and meet with a bunch of angels and discuss, what happened. And I remember Philadelphia instructing him to have a different version of what happened. Why? I have no idea. Why? That falls back to tell the truth again. And you might not like what you're seeing or hearing here, but it's the truth. And for them to instruct him to say one thing that wasn't untrue, you just starting a big ball of wax, and it's only going to grow.
So did the guy that got his patch that night, was he able to keep his patch? Like, what was his story after this happened?
He kept his patch. The guy that got patched that night is the actual guy that set me up on that case. That's who was having the party that night.
Wow.
And he was in for a while. He wound up when all of them got called to the carpet up in someplace up New York. It was, I don't want to be specific, but he was one of them that didn't go. They were afraid of their own because they'd been lying to them so much about so many things. They did not want to go up there and stand up and be men. And, again, whatever you got to do, you got to do. But you started it off wrong. You were telling lies to them. And, it's a hard situation when a member, is killed and they're, people are trying to find out what truly went on. And you got the guys right there in the front lines that are telling lies.
So out of all the people that were down in Philadelphia at the time, when they get called up to the carpet, how many people don't show up and how many people go?
Oh, when they got called up somewhere in New York, I think, Bill, I don't remember the exact number, but I think there were 7 or 8 guys that actually brought their stuff to Philly's house, handed it to the one member who's also dead now, Mark. When he was a pagan, he was called Slow Mo. And he took everything. And he and another member took it up to this location where they had to meet everybody and turned their stuff in and said they had all quit because that was, the end of the line for them. The fiddle was playing, your lies are coming to a head and you're going to have to answer for what you're telling us.
So there were no repercussions for any of them? They just got to walk away?
They just literally vanished like little rats in their holes. The ones that were left, I think there was myself, 1, 2, 3, I believe 3 or 4 other guys were left in Philadelphia at that time, and that's it. A couple of prospects and stuff, but members it was down to 4.
So did the prospects get called up there too?
No, the prospects weren't called in on it. It was the members that were around then, and they had to answer for what they were telling the East Coast, and the lies just manifested and grew out of control where they couldn't cover their own shit anymore.
And I'm sure that picture didn't help with the
picture
with the Pagans.
Not at all. Had they just been told the truth, if anybody else would have got clipped, Tom would have told the truth. Absolutely. He would have definitely told the truth. But why these guys started this manifest of, lies. I have no idea. I don't know what they were thinking. They weren't thinking.
So now, how far from where Cheerleaders is to where he gets shot and killed? How far is that?
I'm going to say approximately 3 to 4 miles. It's not far. You leave out of here or down Oregon Avenue and come out to the expressway, and it just entered the expressway, and he wound up off the Bear Avenue exit, which I think is the first exit ramp or cut off from the expressway after you get on from Oregon. And, that's where he came to rest after being hit.
And was he on his way home that night?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
And where did the other people that were with them that night, where did they go and what were they doing?
They were still partying. They stayed. They should have left with him. They knew what was going on in the world then and what could have happened. There should have been a couple of guys that, followed Tommy home, whatever. That's just should have been protocol that night, and it wasn't. They were too busy and partying, having a good time.
Because of his life.
You don't let your head guy leave like that, especially knowing where you are or what could have happened. And they just did not take the proper steps in my eyes. And I'm sure in a lot of other people's eyes that either knew the truth or don't know the truth, but will now. And just let me, real quick, so I don't forget, if you take the time to actually watch, some of these episodes that's gone on before, I never stated Tommy was hit in the front of his head for someone. He was struck in the top as he ducked down, and a bullet came through the mirror, apparently the one that killed him, and came out the back.
Now, how far is the clubhouse from where you're at now?
The clubhouse, no traffic, cutting across through the city on the bikes, whatever. 15, 20 minutes from here. Depending on, how you went through the city. And
it's closed down now, right?
Yeah, it's closed down. They said for a long time, it was another ex-pagan, Subtle, that was on paper as owning the house. And then I believe Slim wanted to own it because he had put so much money into it. And, being a club member caused his business to suffer. He thought that he was entitled to ownership of the house.